morning. I'm Natasha, and this is Always Be Crafting. It is Saturday morning, and on Saturdays I sew. So I'm down in my basement, in my sewing corner of my craft room, and it's a little chaotic. It has been, I feel like, I think I say this every week, but it has been a whirlwind of activities recently. This week was Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, and I'm a song leader for young children and their families. So I was very focused on getting to the services on Saturday. On Thursday. Today's Saturday. So Thursday morning, we had family services. And in addition to leading song, I also lead a story. And I say always be crafting because you don't just craft with your hands, you also craft with your words. And so one of the things I crafted, or I continue to be crafting, is those story times. And I like to bring in ways for the children to participate in the stories. So I was very focused this week on gathering props, and sometimes I had to make things. Sometimes I make stickers. It just sort of depends on the story and what's happening that week in all these lessons in life, right? You want to get children really engaged and share that big picture with them. Let them know that they're part of something bigger, because that's all we all want. We all want community, right? So that's what I was focused on a lot this week. And then immediately, as soon as the services for Rosh Hashanah were over on Thursday morning, I was quickly turning around and going on a self-imposed hiatus. I said, I am going to run away from home, and I am going to go do some quilt shops for my shop hop. I brought you along to a shop last time. I did a little shop hopping last weekend, and I did another shop hop like this week, and I was gonna see a bunch because I was gonna go see my son up in Vermont to check on him, check in with him, wish him a happy new year in person, give him a hug, but really just see his face, because I did not have to work on Friday because of Rosh Hashanah. And I said, when am I going to have this opportunity where I have so much time off, where my younger son doesn't have to be picked up from school, so I have no other obligations, family speaking, no other obligations, work speaking. And my husband and my younger son were like, yeah, go do your thing. We don't want to go to fabric stores. Go enjoy yourself. We're going to stay home and enjoy some Lego building. And they did their thing, and they were happy as clams to be home. So we'll have a little vacation our way. So that's what I did. And I'm recording another video about my shop hop. I recorded lots of videos while I was traveling, telling you about it. And I'm putting all those videos, editing them together I'm going to do another little mini shop hop in 2 weeks. So I'm going to edit all those videos together, and you're going to see. But today is Saturdays I Sew. And I started with sewing. I should have included a little video right before I started speaking. Let me turn my head to pick up what I sewed this morning. I was working on, I say was, past tense, because I'm stopping right now because I can't find my pattern. Unfortunately, my house is still, my space is a mess. And even though I have done some cleaning, I cannot locate my pattern. I haven't seen it since before I left on my little jaunt up through Massachusetts, New Hampshire, into Vermont, and then back again. I did 5 states because I actually drove through New York as well. And I live in Connecticut. So I was in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York in the last 48 hours. It's wild. Luckily, our states are all little teeny tiny states, so it's kind of easy to do. But it was still a lot of mileage. But I can't find my pattern. And it was for that Gemini, hold on, what's her name? Oh my gosh, why did I just blank on her name? Crafty Gemini. I'd shown it to you before, a Crafty Gemini pattern that I received as part of my book pouch, August book pouch surprise bag. And I got this pattern and I said, okay, I'm going to put this together. And so I started putting together, I have all these little Kaffe squares. I got a little mini charm pack. They're the 2.5-inch square mini charms. And I put them all together. You get 42 charms, so 6 by 7. That's what this is. And it wasn't going to be wide enough. I don't even think it's long enough because I think it's supposed to be 15 or 14 by 19, I think. And this is 19 wide because I put 2 strips here at the end. 2 strips at the end of jelly roll, Kaffe Facet Collective jelly roll that I had. But I measured it after I put it all together and it's like 12 3/4 from top to bottom. It's like 12 3/4. And I can't find my pattern to confirm how big it's supposed to be. If it's supposed to be 13, then I'm going to call it good. It's close enough, you know, for whatever this pattern is going to be. But if it's supposed to be bigger than that, if it's supposed to be 14 or 15, then I'm going to have to add a border at the top and the bottom. But I can't do that until I find the pattern. So it looks like a really cute pattern and I'm excited to do it, but I have not been able to locate it. And I've looked through all the things on my desk, all the things where it should be. I don't know where it is, but when I find it, I will continue. But until then, it does look like it'll be a cute booklet pouch, right? I mean, I can see that it'll be a little bit smaller than this, but it looks like a good booklet size. So I don't know why it would need to be much taller than this, but my brain is saying it has to be bigger. And these 2 strips at the end are going to be on the back. So I know my closure attachment will be here. And this will be the front. Isn't that cute? So open it up. It's kind of backwards to me right now, but hopefully it looks good to you. Maybe it looks like this. Maybe this is better. I don't know. Everything's in reverse when you do it on camera, so it's not exactly the same as looking in a mirror. Everything's just a little off. But I think it goes, I think that makes more sense like this. Anyways, I can't continue until I find the pattern. And if I don't find the pattern, I'm either gonna make it up, which I don't want to do. I want to follow the pattern, or I'm gonna have to move on. And that leads me to the next project I'm starting is my next By Annie Bag Makers group SlowAlong, which is when we sew slowly. I've talked about these before. I've done other SlowAlongs on the channel. If you've been here before, you saw me do the Travel Essentials 2.0 a few months ago as part of a SlowAlong. If you are new, thank you for joining us. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And By Annie is a Patterns by Annie is they do quilted bags. It is a quilted bag pattern company, and I love it. This is what we're doing next, the Double Zip Gear Bag 2.0. And this, all I can really show you is the outside. So these are the required ingredients, if you will. And this is what it looks like at the end. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to open up the pattern and read the pattern because I haven't done it. The SlowAlong begins today. Each week we have a task. This week's task is to quilt the pieces and cut out all the pieces we need. So you can see there are going to be multiple pieces in a bag because you have like the top flap, you have the side panel, the bottom panel. I can tell just by looking at the picture that there are multiple pieces to the bag. I don't know how many because I haven't read the pattern yet, but each of those pieces need to be quilted, cut and quilted. Or you cut out a piece of fabric, you make a quilt sandwich, you quilt it, and then you give it its final cut. Because when you quilt fabric, it shrinks, so you always quilt it a little bit bigger. Some people actually just take like 2 yards of fabric or something large and quilt a huge piece and then cut all their pieces from the huge piece. I am quilting on a domestic machine, so I like to do small pieces one at a time. That's my preference. Everyone's different. Some people have quilting machines and they can do huge long pieces all in one go. Whatever floats your boat. And you specifically make these bags with By Annie's Soft and Stable, which is a foam interfacing, which is right behind the camera. but I've used it before, so I'm not going to reach through the camera to pick up the foam interfacing, but you'll probably see me using it because I will be filming myself cutting it and quilting it this morning after I read through the pattern, because that's what I'll be doing next. I did just finish filming really quickly my review, or not review, but my overview of everything I purchased while I was on my shop hop palooza the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, since I left so late in the afternoon, I left at like 1:30 in the afternoon from my home after work to start going to quilt stores on my way to see my son in Vermont. I stopped at 3 quilt stores, one in Massachusetts, one in New Hampshire, and one in Vermont. And at one of those quilt stores, the fabric is kind of behind you, I picked up fabric that I will be using for my double zip gear bag. I actually picked up, sorry for the rustling, I picked up 1.5 yards for the large of the bags. This large one, you only need 3/4 yard. And the small, you only need a fat quarter. For this is the exterior. So whatever you need for the exterior, you need for the interior as well. And the medium takes 5/8 yard. And I can tell you that because that's on the recipe card on the back. So that's 1.5 yards is more than enough. So I'm thinking I might make all 3. Maybe make a matching set of all 3 bags. But this is the fabric I will be using. And I just picked it up while on my quilt shop hop. Isn't that so cute? Look at that. I chose it because it's non-directional, so I don't have to worry about whether the pattern is going this way or this way, because on a bag like this, I feel like all the pieces are going to turn quite a bit, and it'll be much easier to make with non-directional fabric. And I just have to pick out some fabric from my stash for the interior. I usually use something very neutral like a Moda Grunge. I have a Moda Grunge right here on top. Let me show you. This kind of fabric is Moda Grunge. See, again, it's non-directional, but it's just, it looks like painted, you know, smushy paint moved around a canvas. I have a bunch of different shades of Moda Grunge in a variety of pinks and purples that would match this fabric beautifully. But I'm thinking I might use my splash fabric because I have a bunch of splash fabric. Splash, let me show you splash. So the people at Splash, splashfabric.com, this is them on their little card. The fabric is spill proof, 100% cotton laminated, family friendly, wash and wipe, food safe, give back. That's all their little mottos on their first thing, on their card. And I love that it's a family run company. And laminated cotton, you can laminate cotton at home. There are a couple of different products. There are iron-on vinyls made by, I've seen at least 2 companies make iron-on vinyl, where you have like a roll. I might actually have some. I do, but I think it's over there. It's going to be hard to get to right now. But it's like a roll of vinyl, like clear vinyl, like almost looks like those, what do you put in your cabinets to protect like your shelf liner, like clear shelf liner? That's what it looks like. And it's a little sticky, so when you put it down, it sticks to your fabric. But then it becomes permanent when you apply heat. And of course, you have to put like a sheet protector over it, like parchment paper or something like that, to protect your iron from getting stuck to it. And you iron it on, but you have to have like a really hot iron to do it, and you're doing it in chunks, so you can get iron marks in it. It's not the easiest thing to use, but it is possible. And if you're doing small projects, it's easier than doing large projects, but you can laminate your own cotton. It does not last forever. Like if you wash it in the washing machine, it does start to break down, that iron-on stuff. At least that's been my experience. It lasts a long time. And if you're just wiping it, awesome, who cares? But in the washing machine, it doesn't seem to last as long. And I like things to be machine washable whenever possible. But I've only tried one of the two brands, and I know there's at least two brands. Then there's another product called Coat, which is like a paste that you brush on and it dries, and then you brush on like a couple of coats. And some people even sand it in between layers to just like get the smoothest finish, and you brush it on like a varnish. Basically, you basically varnish your fabric with it, and it builds up like a plastic layer. You're basically gluing or Mod Podging your fabric, but it's still the kind of glue it is. It's still very flexible, so it doesn't impact the ability for your fabric to move. The advantage of that is that you can do it after you've stitched your fabric, so you technically can cover up all the holes that your sewing has created. So that's another option. And then you usually throw it in the dryer to heat set it. That's labor intensive. It's a little bit, like I said, it takes more time, and it's kind of a big production as far as your space. Not impossible, but it takes practice. And if it's something you are passionate about, I know a lot of people who really find good results with Coat. And then you can use any fabric you want, right? Whatever designer fabric, I could Coat this. So you're not limited by your fabric choices. And that's kind of like making your own oilcloth, if you will. Well, Splash Company has come out with a ton of prints where they've done all that work for you. So they've done all the laminating for you, but because they've done it, they've engineered that vinyl to be like really high quality, and it's not going to break down. And they have got some really cute prints. So I was first drawn to them because they had just lots of colors of this type of print. See, so just looks like fabric with like a big, big weave. Easy peasy, right? Then I went on their site and I bought a bunch of different colors. This is green, but I think I have like a denim color, like a dark black color, a gray color, a purple color. I think you've seen me use the lavender purple color because I've used it in a couple of bags. Yellow, peach, they've got a bunch of colors. So great interiors for bags, very flexible. And then when I went on their website, I went into like their sale section and looked for fabrics that were being discontinued or whatever, you know, for pattern. And I found this one, which looks like knit, like a sweater. And that's so pretty. So I love that style, and it's very, I don't know, kind of reminds me of Christmas with the colors, but it doesn't have to be Christmassy. So I bought a bunch of that on sale. And then this one I don't think was discontinued, but I just thought it was so cute. I have a lot of friends who do knitting, and the nice thing about laminated fabric is it reduces any friction on your yarn. So if you have a yarn in a ball that might be spinning inside a bag, there's no friction against that fabric on your inside of your bag. And then if you don't know this about me, I love ladybugs. So I had to get ladybugs. So I was thinking for the double zip gear bag, sorry, I moved you. Double zip gear bag, maybe I'll use some of my splash fabric on the inside. So I haven't decided yet. If I do choose to use the double zip gear, if I do decide to use the splash fabric inside, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to quilt my exterior fabric to my soft and stable, do all my quilting lines that I want, and then attach my laminated cotton to the pieces at the end, so I don't have the quilting lines going through the laminated cotton. I think that's what I'll do if I choose to go laminated cotton, and I'll decide that when I start cutting and sewing, which you're going to watch me do. So like I said, right now I am going to read my pattern. I'm going to go through all the steps because I haven't read it, and that'll help me decide what interior fabric I want. And then I will start cutting out the pieces. I think I'm going to start with the large, and then if I feel motivated, I'll cut out the medium and the small. And if I just make the large, then I just make the large. No harm, no foul. The finish sizes, just so you know, small finishes at 4 by 8.5 by 5.5. Medium finishes at 5 by 10.5 by 7. And large finishes by 6.5 by 13.5 by 9. So that's like a really big bag. I think you can like fit shoes in that big bag. So I'm thinking I might want to put stuff that might be messy, so that laminated cotton might be the way to go. All right, I'm going to read my pattern, and I'll flip you around after I read my pattern so you can watch me do the sewing, but you can't really watch me read a pattern. That's like nothing to see because I can't show you the inside of my pattern. So making the camera look at me reading seems very silly. So I'll turn you back on in a few minutes after I've read the pattern, and you'll watch me cut. Thank you for being here. If you like what you see, I hope you subscribe and hit the thumbs up. Tell your friends. I love making these videos every weekend. Every Saturday I'm here because on Saturdays I sew. Next Saturday, oh look, this is a good warning. Next Saturday is another Jewish holiday. It's the holiday of Yom Kippur. And it is a very sacred day. And I'm not sure I will have time to sew before I go to the temple to lead the children's services. I need to leave home by 9:30 in the morning, and I just don't know that I'm gonna make time to sew before I go. Will I have time to sew afterwards? Possibly not, because this year Yom Kippur also falls on my anniversary. So my husband and I, after we break the fast, if you don't know what Yom Kippur is and you're curious, I'll happily tell you, but all you need to know is it's a very sacred day. It involves fasting. You do not eat during the day until sundown. But when you do start eating again, when the sun goes down at the end of the day, it's called breaking the fast. So after we break the fast, my husband and I will be celebrating our anniversary by going to see a comedian that we love. So that's what we're doing that night in celebration. After we break the fast with family, then we will celebrate our anniversary at the end of the day. So I'm looking forward to that day, but there probably won't be sewing. So maybe next Saturday I will upload a video of something else. I'm not really sure, but every Saturday otherwise I do something fabric related and sewing related. So I don't know what you're going to see next Saturday, but I hope you're subscribing and tuning in and commenting and engaging, because I love engagement. I really do. I was really afraid of it in the beginning. I will admit I was really overwhelmed. Like, I had that, those voices that I'm like, oh, Natasha, you're not good enough. I was really doubting myself. And the more confident I become, the more I realize that I am good enough. As they say, like, you are good enough, you are this. But I'm just human, and we're all just human, and I need to stop trying to hold myself up to this crazy standard. Obviously, this is what I look like. Oh, well, I haven't showered this morning. Oh, well, it's okay. I am human, and it's okay. We are all okay. Thank you for being here. Bye.